There's a quote that has survived almost 2,000 years. A sentence so simple, yet so painfully accurate that every generation reads it and whispers, "Yeah, that is me." Seneca said, "We suffer more in our imagination than in reality." And the older I get, the more I realize this was not philosophy. This was a diagnosis. Because if we are being honest, most of us are not being destroyed by life. We are being destroyed by the stories we tell ourselves about life. Now let me give you a story of Seneca, a one-minute story of Seneca. Seneca was not some monk sitting on a mountain with incense and free time. He lived in ancient Rome, a place where one wrong political move could get you exiled, imprisoned, or even executed before breakfast. Now for him, he was exiled. He was accused. He lived under emperors who were basically walking red flags. He saw betrayal, power, corruption, and fear up close. And yet, in the middle of all that chaos, he concluded, the mind is where the real suffering happens. Not the exile, not the danger, not the uncertainty, but the mind. And if Seneca, a man who lived under emperors who could kill him with a shrug, said this, what about us? We are out here suffering because someone did not text back, or because we think our boss looked at us weird, or because we convinced ourselves that one mistake means our whole life is collapsing. We are not being attacked by lions, we are being attacked by our imaginations. Now let me give you real life scenarios. Think about the last time you thought something terrible was going to happen. You rehearsed the disaster. You imagined the worst case scenario. You wrote the whole script in your head, and then nothing happened. You survived. You're still here. Maybe a little embarrassed, maybe a little tired, but not destroyed the way your mind promised you would be. Your mind created a movie, but reality gave you a short TikTok. This is JengaPod episode 1 of the Suffering Mind series, and in this episode, we are looking at why we suffer more in our minds than in reality. Now let's look at the problem, the suffering mind. Why do we suffer more in our minds than in reality? Why do we catastrophize things? Why do we imagine failure before we even try? Why do we rehearse pain that has not happened? Now, psychology has a name for this, catastrophizing. It's when your brain takes a small inconvenience and turns it into a Netflix drama. You send an email with a typo. Your brain is like, well, career over. Someone doesn't smile back. Your brain is like, they hate me. Everyone hates me. You should move to another city. You should move to another country. You feel a small pain in your chest and your brain is like, this is it. I'm gonna die. Goodbye, world. So we laugh, but this is real. This is how the suffering mind works. Now let's look at the psychology behind it. Let's break down the psychology traps that make us suffer unnecessarily. Number 1, catastrophizing. Your brain predicts disaster because it thinks fear equals safety. It's trying to protect you, but it ends up imprisoning you. Number 2, negativity bias. Your brain is wired to notice threats more than blessings. It's an ancient survival mechanism, great for cavemen, but terrible for modern day humans. Number 3, decision paralysis. You think so much about what could go wrong that you never actually do anything. You suffer in the planning stage instead of the doing stage. Number 4, emotional forecasting. You predict how bad something will feel, and the prediction hurts more than the actual experience. Number 5, cognitive distortion. Your mind bends reality like a funhouse mirror, except it's not fun, it's not a house, it is your life. Now let's look at the philosophy behind it. Stoics believe that suffering doesn't come from events, it comes from judgment of events. Two people can experience the same moment and walk away with two different realities. And we have shared more about this in our attitude series. So if you want to learn more about this, you should tune in into that series and learn about how our attitude actually shape our life experiences. So one sees inconvenience, the other sees catastrophe. One sees a challenge, the other sees doom. The event did not change, but the mind did. Now let's look at the modern day version of Seneca's truth. Today we don't fear exile, we fear embarrassment. We fear failure, we fear judgment. We fear not being enough. But the fear is still imaginary. It's still a story. It's still suffering before anything even happens. We break before life breaks us. And here's the part I want you to hear clearly. You're not weak for suffering in your mind. You're human. Your brain is doing what it was designed to do, and that is to protect you from danger. It just has not updated its software yet. It still thinks you're living in ancient Rome with Seneca, but you are not. You're living in a world where most of your suffering is optional. And that is the good news. If the suffering is imagined, then the solution is real. Now, this episode is for awareness, the eye-opening moment, the "oh, it's not just me" moment. Now, episode 2 will help you recognize the signs, the behaviors, the patterns, and the habits that reveal your suffering in your mind. And episode 3, that's where we break the cycle, where we move from imagination to action, where we stop negotiating with our fears and start living with intention. Now, to close, before you go, I want you to remember this. You have survived every catastrophe your mind ever predicted. Every single one. You're still here, you're still breathing, you're still building. Maybe not perfect, but not destroyed. And that means your mind has been lying to you. Not to hurt you, but to protect you. Now it's time to teach it a better way. This is JengaPod, and I'm your host, Godwin Silayo. Let's get stacking, let's keep building, let's keep rising. And if this episode taught you something, please do subscribe, follow us on our podcast channels, like, comment, and share it with friends. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in our second episode. Thank you.